telling stories. I love talking about wrestling, talking shop with guys. You guys are a blast, man. I like, you know, let me know when you want me back on.
Oh, definitely. Well, we normally do a top 5. Like we have a top 5 every Sunday. But I mean, we record it, early, but we put it out on Sundays. So the last one we had was our top 5 best high flyers of all time. So I think we're doing another one. We're doing next week. We're doing, what was it, Chris? You said top 5
best gimmick changes that were for the better.
Yeah.
Number 1, JBL.
There you go.
All right. Well, yeah. Take that clip and then just throw that on the episode.
And if he's available next week, we can probably get him in there. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Circle of the Main Podcast Top 5 of the Week for week 24, 24. This is your host, Devious One, IBC, alongside with my co-host brothers from another mothers. But we have the Matt's World. I don't know where to sanitize today, but he has some sunglasses today. Now he's becoming the Orange Cassidy. Now he's the Orange Cassidy of the podcast. So what is it? Matt Cassidy now, or Orange Matt, or what is it?
It's Mandarin Matt.
Mandarin Matt. Club
Mandarin
Cassidy. No, it's the Carbonation Cabron.
Oh yeah, the Carbonation Cabron. That's right, that is Mr. Matt Steamboat. And of course, we have, it should have been me, and it should have been him, and that's the one with the bow and arrow, Mr. CKOne himself, Chris Kennedy. That's right. That's right. And also we have the man, the hero, that saves us from every bullshit around, the pro wrestling with Retribution, with Dave Meltzer, with Brian Alvarez, with, you know who you are. I'm not going to mention you still regardless to this day. And that's the man with the 12-inch pythons. The man that flexes. I'm going to tell you no. That is the great American hero, Sir Mike Lopez.
I like how you put the great American hero. That's a good addition. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome, because you're great. You're great. You're awesome. You see, because you always say no to Retribution to this day.
Who?
So, exactly. Who? Exactly. So, gentlemen, let's go ahead and start this off. The top 5 picks of week for week 24 is top 5 best gimmick changes of all time. This was a very difficult one. I'm pretty sure for everyone. For me, it was. Because there were so many different gimmick changes throughout the era, from the 80s era of WWF to WCW as well, towards the Attitude Era. I could go on and on. So let's go ahead and actually, I want to hear him. So I'll go ahead and choose you, Mr. Club Soda Cabron, Matt. Take it away. The floor is yours.
Okay, so I'm going to start off right away. So for number 5, for my favorite gimmick changes for the better, I'm gonna kick it off right away with somebody I've listed before. Do I have my? Oh, that's gonna stab my mouth. Hold on.
Props. He's carrot top. Yeah.
There it is.
There it is.
Oh,
The bad guy, Scott Hall.
All right.
5. Before, I saw some the older videos of him. He's got big curly hair, and he's actually had a Hulk Hogan mustache before. I think before it was a Hulk Hogan mustache, his early days. I think territory days. Scott Hall. I don't know. I don't even know what gimmick he had back then. But it wasn't the bad guy. That's for sure. It wasn't Razor Ramon.
Yeah, I think it was the Blackjacks. It was a cowboy gimmick, I think. And Teddy Long was his manager.
Yeah, something like that it was.
Yeah.
I guess he kind of has that voice then, because you get you sound kind of like a cowboy. You think so? With the toothpick.
Yeah.
I think he's always had that tooth. I don't know if that toothpick's always been the thing, but So Razor Ramon's my number 5. It doesn't get better than that. That's
it does. It gets better than that 4 more times.
Variations. You could say it's a very like NWO's like the raw Scott Hall's the raw version of the bad guy, more or less. It's just more him than anything else. Just like a more real gangster.
He was your Tony Montana of the WWF at the time.
Yeah, that was straight up the gimmick. That was
that
badass. He was a genuine bad guy.
Oh,
every time somebody mentions Tony Montana, I think about that one movie. It's like, say hello to my little friend. It's a midget with a machine gun
I thought you were talking
coming
about
out of
me.
coming out of his trench coat. Say hello to my little friend.
But yeah, absolutely, because with Scott Hall's career after he left WWF, he made a name for himself in obviously WCW, and he made an impact, and that cultivated his career as well. Besides coming back, so I agree with you 100%. Best gimmick change, and it worked out for the best.
So number 4, this one's kind of special, special because we kind of recently saw kind of like the end of that arc. I got to say this was probably the beginning of that arc when that changed, but only this past. All right, I'll lead into it. This past Wrestle Kingdom 14, we saw the ending of that arc because he went from. So number 4 is Tetsuya Naito for me because before he was just more of the Stardust genius. He was still kind of doing this, but he wasn't that like that bad guy. That kind of that wearing the black hat. Not caring. He was more about like flying high. Like they were in a way they wanted him to be like another Hiroshi Tanahashi in a way, just like a baby face, high flying, lovable, kind of squeaky clean. And then he was saying like in Japanese, he was saying he's the Shuyaku. So Shuyaku in Japanese, that means the top talent, the top guy. But when he said he's the Shuyaku, they said everybody was just dead quiet. Nobody was applauding him. Nobody was cheering for him. And he wasn't getting any applause at all. So he went to Mexico to learn all the new skills and get better and develop his talents. So it changed from that to then he developed, the Los Ingobernables, the outlaw, the rogue Tetsuya Naito that he is today. So, and finally the completion of that storyline was him winning that title. And now he's the champion Naito. He's still pretty much the same, but he's got like, regal. He's got like the robes, the fur. He's looking like a pimp now, I say.
He does, definitely. And that's 100% agreeable because even his career in Mexico, like he was a short hair, not really like known as hell. Like he was just known regular pro wrestler from Japan that just came. And luckily that he felt, he created that faction with Rush and Sombra and, everybody else in that, the creation of Los Ingobernables.
I think this Los Sombras pose is like this.
Yes, the Sombras pose. This is when he had the mask on. Andrade when he had the mask on. So this is, before they took off the mask. But yeah, I mean, it worked out for him in his career, how you said. It culminated in Japan as well. And he's your, I can say he's your, I want to say Eddie Guerrero, my apologies. I probably would say more like a cocky-ass Shawn Michaels of Japan. Like his attitude,
in the early days.
That's what he reminds me of because of his cocky attitude. And, having a faction, just like Michaels had DX.
So, number 3, I'm going to go with Shinsuke Nakamura going from. So, in his early days, he had a different gimmick. He was kind of like, sort of like Antonio Inoki's like son. Like, he was the savior.
Oh, yeah. I heard, yeah. Okay.
He was seen as like he's the savior of strong style, and he kind of had like he wore like a boxing like hoodie to the ring. It was like a boxing robe with a hood. He had a different hairstyle, just kind of plain, and then he just slowly morphed into the King of Strong style, and that's the guy you see doing this pose, and like kind of like Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
The swag and the hair, like the shaved with a very dramatic and more, wearing the crown on his head and like the pose in the ring, that just adds to like the mystique and the, the whole, magic of it all. Cause it,
kind of Kill Bill character right now.
Oh yeah. I gotta say in Japan, I really didn't like, I don't know if it was Brock Lesnar that forced it, but just the fact that Brock Lesnar just did a squash match with him. It was just like less than 2 minutes, and then
that was Inoki. Inoki was the one that booked it. That's what happened. When all that occurred, that's when the downfall of Inoki's presence at the time.
The IGF and everything.
Was already just like garbage. It was just that was it. and they had to buy him out, and I'm glad they did. I'm glad Bushy Board took the initiative of buying him out and took control, and it changed the whole platform in New Japan, and now it's
Bushiroad does a lot of things. They're very they're like a Swiss Army knife. They make anime, they make video games, they do a lot of stuff in addition to wrestling. So they're under the umbrella, and it's a very successful company.
Definitely.
But who knows? Some people on here are probably on. I'm saying hi to. I'm also on another app right now, just making mention of that. But yeah, some people over here are probably working for Bushiroad. So much love.
We say hey.
Much love to you guys from Circle of Debate, to everybody here on Live It. So, yeah, so it's one of the reasons why I'm really hoping something like that doesn't happen with Brock Lesnar and another company. Like if he ever comes to AEW, that he doesn't pull that same deal. You're saying I'm really if it is as you say, and Inoki did that, then maybe we could get some good matches out of Lesnar and other promotions. But it doesn't. I don't know how likely it is at this moment in time. So we could be different in the future. So number 2. This one is almost overly obvious. I gotta say, it's right there in the open in front of you. The Rock, right there. Nice. The Rock's my number 2 pick because I wonder who else has picked him. We'll see. But I mean, going from Rocky Maivia to The Rock, when he got to lead the Nation of Domination and build his gimmick. He got to build his gimmick of when he was a heel, just trash talking, developing the phrase "The Rock is cooking," the SmackDown Hotel, Rudy Poo, just all the lines. That's an example of when you turn heel, it helps you. Because when he was open, it was just like a white meat baby face, Rocky Maivia, 3rd generation, and then everybody, the chant was "Die Rocky, die" or "Rocky sucks," and people weren't that crazy about it. It wasn't that interesting. Mm-hmm. So they're going with The Rock when he became The Rock and went from Rocky Maivia to The Rock. So that's the big one. So I'm ready for number 1 now. You guys ready? Let's do it. Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Yeah, of course. That's the number 1. Yep.
Gotta be, because him going from, of course, the Ringmaster to Stone Cold. I mean, it's one of the biggest gimmicks in wrestling of all time. It's almost it's right there in front of you. Because, I mean, I gotta say, Stunning Steve. I don't know how over or popular that was in WCW. I wasn't around for that at the time, or I can't see what the audience's gauge to that was. I mean, he was the heel most of the time as Stunning Steve.
And the Hollywood Blondes with Brian Pillman too.
Love it. That was one of my favorite tag teams right there too.
Yeah.
And what I don't know exactly what gimmick it was in ECW. I know he was doing Hulk Hogan impersonations in ECW. I don't know exactly.
It was an early version of Stone Cold. He has a really sick promo he's cutting. I think he's cutting it on
Hogan and Bishop.
WWE on Hogan and he's doing the Austin gimmick in this interview. It was very Shane Douglas at the time, very franchise, where he was like, if you don't want my business, I'm not going to take it north or south. I'm going to take it right here and whip some ass.
Yep.
And that was a very in-between area between, obscurity in WCW and then icon.
Proto.
That was yet to come.
It's like proto Steve Austin. When you think about proto thrash metal,
Yeah. Go back and watch those. Just type in Steve Austin and ECW and you'd be like, oh, he had that angle down and they just took it from him. Took it away from him and said, $1 Million Man, not a good angle.
Yeah,
Ringmaster.
He said it
to the camera.
He said it himself that it wasn't. He did not want to manage it, but Vince put him with Ted DiBiase, decided to create that gimmick with that the Ringmaster, and Austin didn't like it. Obviously,
actually defending the $1 Million Championship.
Yeah, it didn't make no sense. It was like the last breath of the $1 Million Corporation. He was trying to revive it with him, but that was it. It died out. All your people are gone. They all jumped ship to WCW. He was the last one left to go, which I'm talking about Ted DiBiase, and which he did right after. Because after Austin made his own, when Austin lost to Savio Vega, and that means that no more Ted DiBiase, then from there, Austin went on his own. And then that's when he created Stone Cold Steve Austin because of his wife. His ex-wife, his first wife.
It's the British woman.
The British one. It's a British one.
Oh,
Yeah.
not Deborah.
All of his kids have British accents.
Yeah.
So it's like, my father is Stone Cold Steve Austin. Like, I remember watching that on WWE Confidential. It was like an episode of that hosted by Mean Gene. Like, I used to watch that every Saturday night before SNL at WWE Confidential on TNN when it was on Turner TNN. So yeah, so my two honorable mentions. So my first honorable mention is, I gotta say, this is probably gonna be somewhat of an obvious one. Terry Boulder becoming Hulk Hogan. That should obviously be higher, but I don't know how long Terry Boulder was for. It was so brief. It was so short.
You mean Terry Bollea?
No, but his name was Terry Boulder.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I forgot
Boulder
the 8
for
Boulder. Yeah.
Like that.
And then Brutus Barber Beefcake he was like, well, I forgot what his name was. It was also Boulder, but they were like the Boulder brothers was their name. That was like the whole thing. And they wanted, like, I think I read in an older book because he was supposed to be like Terry Hogan, the Irish Menace, and they wanted him to dye his hair red. Was like one of the other ideas.
Oh yeah. Fuck.
Horrible.
Remind me of that.
Thank God it happened.
They didn't go with the Irish Menace, Terry Hogan, like hence the last name Hogan. But then he saw the Incredible Hulk, and then, the rest is history.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely is, yeah.
Definitely.
Other honorable mention, I probably have to think, I don't think I have another one right now. So
You're okay.
worry about it another
Wait,
time.
I'm surprised you haven't chose Sting on this one.
It wasn't like an immediate cut and dry of two different guys, because it was very slowly shifting.
And he kind of just changed his face paint, basically.
Yeah.
But later on throughout the time, he changed his whole the face paint, but his gimmick, his character was no longer the Surfer Sting. He just went straight.
Yeah.
I know.
He used to
But
talk
he
a
was
lot.
but he was over with both characters though, wasn't he?
Yeah. He was over both characters, but but it was already kind of dying out at the time when he was already Surfer Sting.
Because I gotta say the promo.
That's just me, my opinion about it. But I don't know how you guys feel about it.
Yeah, I think that's a criteria that you could use on your individual list on the success of the prior gimmick, and if the second gimmick was just better.
Because the promos were pretty much, the same, because it was still, it's showtime, folks. Woo! And we're going to beat them tonight. Just very clean babyface promo. And I'll tell you, I'll destroy you, Ric Flair, for all the little boys and girls out here in the audience, here in Atlanta, Georgia, in the NWA champion. Woo! I'm going to here in Venice Beach, California. It's like
He was definitely the WCW's Ultimate Warrior.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, big time.
Definitely.
Definitely.
Partner,
The Dingo Warriors.
That was such a great, terrible name. That's a different list.
Wait, what about Renegade?
Oh wait, Renegade.
That was later on.
Oh.
The Blade Runners, Flash and Rock.
Blade Runners, that's what I was thinking of.
Yeah.
They have like promos in Gold's gym. They would like for them lifting in the gym with the face paint on. Like, what the fuck?
Oh shit! Imagine someone does it to this day, right? Someone working out at the gym with face paint on. I'm like, okay, all right.
Yeah, the Road Warriors did that shit too, for sure.
Oh yeah, for sure. They did.
Not in person, but yeah.
Definitely. All right, so you don't have one. All right, so all right, what good then? All right. All right. I'll start it off then. Damn, this is a tough one. Well, my number five, all right? Al Snow.
Woo!
Why? Because
He was gonna be on my list. I took him off like 2 hours ago.
What does everybody need?
Hey,
What?
if it wasn't
Oh my
for
God.
Paul
I'm so glad-
Heyman,
I'm so glad you got him because I took him off my list.
he deserved that because his career when he was in WWF as one of the as Steve Cassidy was not going anywhere. The Rockers was dead already.
What does everybody want?
It was just a horrible gimmick, and it did not work with him. Even when he was a ninja guy, what was
Avatar.
it?
He was Avatar.
Avatar. There you
Was
go.
he also Shinobi?
Shinobi, yes,
Yeah,
Shinobi
he was
as well.
all three of those.
All three of those fucks.
Jim
And it's
Cornette
like-
hired him to take out Sean, and Sean jobbed the
Oh.
shit out of him. Thank you for keeping him on. He deserves to be here. Thank you for taking him off my hands. All right,
He
proceed.
deserves to be there because once he went to ECW and decided to start with this gimmick, write it backward, help backwards, in reverse. And
I need a
instead-
mannequin head, guys.
and found a mannequin head right there somewhere in the janitor area. Like, oh, because it was like a warehouse where the wrestling. This wasn't at the time that it wasn't the ECW arena. This was like when they were barely starting. So doing high school gyms and or doing these factory abandoned warehouses. He found it. He found this mannequin head and decided to go with it. And Paul Heyman loved it. And I will also give Heyman credit, helping Snow to get up there, and then Heyman buying all those, plastic, aesthetic, foam heads, and people were just going crazy. Like, man, that captivated his career.
I remember I think it was high school. I don't know. I don't think I ever did it to Ivan, but I remember that I would creep up behind my friends and then just scream out, "What does everybody want?" and just shaking their heads.
It was one of the safest props you could hand out and get tossed in the ring. Because in ECW, they would, litter the ring with those things. And you ain't hurt, no matter how many of those, there was thousands of them. You ain't hurting the
Very
workers.
circular, oval type shape. So it's like
styrofoam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. And I mean, so you got to give him credit to Al Snow for doing it, and then he pulled it off. And for him to leave ECW and going to WWF, that was another one. Vince took advantage of that.
Vince kept the character. I was so stoked on that.
Yeah, he kept it. And I'm glad he did, because don't try to change his gimmick now. So, I mean, I'm glad that he kept it. Then obviously later on, he,
Big cheese.
Head cheese.
Oh, head cheese. There you go.
Head cheese.
Yeah.
Head
Which
cheese.
is the military term for when a shit doesn't flush in the toilet.
There you go.
Jeez.
So in case you didn't know,
You heard it here first.
you heard it here last, hopefully. Jesus Christ.
But yeah, definitely, you got to give it to Al Snow. And he did a great, phenomenal career for himself, teaming with Mick Foley, even, being a head coach for, Tough Enough. And his credentials are there. And now he's an owner now for OVW. He took
He's one of the
over.
first MMA trainers of all time, too. He was at UFC 1 in Dan's, well, not UFC 1, but he was in Dan
5.
Severn's one for his first, five or six fights.
That's awesome. Yeah. Got to give it to you. Hands down to you, Al Snow. Good shit.
Hell yeah, man.
All right. That's number 5. But I got to mention another ECW alumni as well. And
Is this like a split with 5, or is this your number 4?
No, this is my number 4.
Okay.
I have to add him too because if we go back to his early career days when he was in WWF, he was known as Aldo Montoya.
Oh my God, PJ.
And obviously he was known as Aldo Montoya. It was like
Polaco, right?
Yes, that's of course. He became just incredible.
That's incredible. Fucking forgot.
And that's another.
You're crushing this list already. You're 2 in, and you just crushed my list, brother. Thank you.
So just incredible, pulled it off, and I'm glad that he went from becoming a wannabe super. I don't know if it was a superhero or I don't know what Vince was trying to do, but
it was like a Spanish ninja.
Something like that. Because
looking at the pictures now.
Okay.
The leftover Shinobi outfit or some shit.
It's a great action figure to have, though, I gotta say.
He was always doing the hurricane pose, right?
Yeah, he always So you can say that he was your original Hurricane, pretty much. You can literally say that from that WWF era. Like, you could say that. But here's one thing, though, that I'm trying to remember. I don't know if you guys recall. Was this before or I'm assuming it's after? You guys remember when Conan was going to be Max Moon and he came out for a little bit, then that shit died out, they let him go. So was it, I'm assuming, I'm asking if you guys refresh your memory, was this after, right? This was after when Conan left, went to WCW, and then that's when they decided to do Aldo Montoya. Am I correct or not? Someone needs to answer that question, but I don't know if you guys remember. Did anybody remember Max Moon?
Don't you worry about that answer right there. Just you wait, son.
Okay. Okay. All right. I like that. All right. So yeah, and then obviously from there he went to he went to ECW, made a name for himself after that, became just incredible badass. He was your Stone Cold at the time for ECW.
Oh yeah.
During the Attitude Era, and he made a name for himself. Him and Lance
I
Storm.
love the Impact players.
Oh man,
The first heel faction I was all in on.
yeah.
Every single member of that team, Lance Storm, Dawn Marie, when Jazz and Jason, fuck yeah. That led to the Jazz and Jason feud, which was one of the best intergender feuds of all time.
Oh hell yeah, love it. Hell yeah, you're
Different
on
list.
yeah, but you're on now. You're on the game.
You give me that ECW boner, brother. When you start talking about 99 ECW, you get me going.
So I mean, yeah, that's another one there, and all right. So yeah, just incredible. Became then the ECW World Champion before he went bankrupt. I think he was one of the last ones. Correct me if I'm wrong. If I recall, and I think he was the last champion right before they shut it down, or
I think it might have been
Rhino.
or
Might have
Rhino
been
was
Dreamer. Might have been Rhino. It's blurry.
It was Rhino, the last ECW champion.
Yeah, was
Like
it
the
Rhino?
last pure ECW.
Okay, yeah. Okay, that was
Okay.
Rhino then. Okay, yeah, but hands down to incredible. The unfortunate part is obviously that it wasn't a great run for WWE when he came in there. Did I like the faction with him and X-Pac? Yes, I did. Albert, I don't know why they added, no offense, to
That theme song though.
it is what it is, the theme song. It didn't bother me, but it is what it is. I know you guys didn't like the theme song. But
everything I ever wanted.
There you go. That's what I was waiting for.
He had that sick ass white zombie,
You
the
ain't
white
gotta
zombie
look
theme
at
song
me
in
like that.
ECW. It's hard to beat.
yeah, I mean, but I there was a good faction between him and Sean Waltman. I wish it could have been better, but it is what it is. But at least for even me, he's a Hall of Famer. He should be. I don't know why Vince doesn't even put him in the Hall of Fame. He should put him. He was your Aldo Montoya. What the fuck, Vinny? You took this guy. Unless he doesn't remember. It's kind of like how when Gallows
Probably
went.
He actually.
What he doesn't?
doesn't remember.
He probably doesn't remember.
He's like, Aldo Montoya.
Oh, wait a minute.
Nah.
No, because then he'll try to bring him back to do that character again.
He'll put him in the Rumble.
Put him in the Rumble.
entry.
Put him in the wrong.
Hey, it's kind of like Gallows when he went back and he's like, don't remind Vince when I was Festus. He doesn't remember him being Festus. So that's Gallows said it himself, like, Vince doesn't remember me being Festus. Like, thank God he did not remember.
Like, I love that character. Bring it back.
I love it. That's good shit. Bring it back. Like, nope. Thank God it didn't. So, I mean, yep, there goes, credible. My number 3. It's going to be a tough one here, but I'm going to have to say it. I will add Kane to it. I will add Glenn Jacobs.
Yup.
Glenn Jacobs, the fact because he went from being Unabomb back in Smoky Mountain, from there coming to WWF, being Isaac Yankem, DDS, which was the horrible gimmick for me. In my opinion, it was horrible. I didn't like it.
Diesel.
And then he was Diesel number 2, and he redeemed himself. And I'm glad. And you know what? Kudos to Vince. Kudos to everybody in creative that created this character for him, this gimmick, and it made a lot of sense, and it fit him very well. And becoming Kane, and you have to give it to him. Come on, it's a future Hall of Famer. I don't know how many times world champ. I believe 2-time, 3-time world champ.
Not many. Not as many as you would think for the Dead Man brother.
2-time, right? Yeah, 2-time. Yeah, I wish he could have gotten more championships. But no matter what, Kane is Kane. Everybody fell in love with him. And we all did. And it's And then especially when he took off the mask, and by the way, that was his long hair, ladies and gentlemen. That was his real hair.
Up until there was a moment,
Yeah, up until that day, he had to shave half of it in the front and then keep some of it in the back to make it like realistic, like it wasn't his real hair, like, you know, the whole burning face type of shit. But kudos to Glenn Jacobs. He pulled it off, and he's definitely a Hall of Famer.
The mayor.
Mayor.
not
Mayor Jacobs.
We got
my vote. You got my vote. And good shit on that. So that's my number 3 on Kane. My number two will be, believe it or not, I know it's a shocker, is John Cena.
Because of shock.
John Cena. Why John Cena? Because
The prototype to
from the prototype and UPW and Ohio Bay Wrestling, coming in as a rookie, did not know any gimmick at the time what to do. And I love, you know, even though Mike hates him, he hates Brother Love. I love you.
I know.
I know you don't. But Bruce Pritchard, explained the story, how the whole Cena thing occurred, how it happened. And there was an episode, and very interesting, and Cena kind of said the same thing too. He just started rapping one day. I'm like, oh, this is good shit. I like it. Well, I mean, that was Bruce that he liked it.
Yeah, it was like a rap battle on the bus with like man or something. Yeah.
And then
totally
they took it to Vince, and Vince was like, let's run with it. Let's go see how it goes. And he was your heel Eminem of pro wrestling when he was. And I love the fact that he started as a heel, as your Eminem, and he pulled it off. And look at him to this day now. That's another future Hall of Famer right there. Unfortunately, he's a 16-time world champ. Tied up with Ric Flair. I disagree with that.
John Stewart tried, man.
Yeah, I disagree with that, but it is what it is. That's my professional opinion about him being 16-time. Nobody should be close to Ric Flair, period. That's
it's weird because like Ric Flair's is an accumulation of 3 different promotions, where John Cena is purely WWE.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, you could use that fine print in an argument for and against either one of them.
Yeah. Absolutely, indeed.
It's like the Lakers. The Lakers have like 5 championships before the NBA, but they still count them in their legacy. So it's
because this is when it was a CBA at the time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hasn't AJ gotten more world titles than both of them?
AJ
Styles,
Lee?
not Lee.
why.
I mean,
because I don't know if they've counted the New Japan and the TNA titles.
No, they haven't counted, and I believe that maybe AJ Styles up there if we count them.
Yeah, but I know with
I heard somewhere that he's passed both of them.
If he did, good shit, because he deserves it. Because even though your gimmick never changed, you were the same, man. But hey, I love you. Right,
he grew the hair out. He grew the hair, and he stopped wearing the shorts.
Yep, exactly. That's all he did. But yeah, kudos to John Cena on that. Definitely. And my number 1, Daniel Bryan.
Oh, curveball. Dig on that. Tell me why. Because
Daniel Bryan, throughout his career as being the American Dragon, Bryan Danielson in Ring of Honor, and every other, and yes, and the kick, going to independent promotion scenes, and then when he signed with WWE, finally, he was just a basic, quiet person, was punked around, got beat up. They didn't really have much for him. That went after they let him go because of the whole situation with Justin Roberts, and with the network, because they saw him choking him with the damn freaking tie. But they brought him back because they kind of slide off, and didn't really have much going for him. And as you noticed, when he was booked, he was still being like, it reminds you a little bit of, I hate to say that, but it kind of reminds me a little bit of John Cena in a way. At the beginning of his career, in like a rookies type of style. Even though Daniel Bryan it's not a rookie, because he's been in the wrestling scene for a long time already at that time. But when you go to WWE, you have to pay your dues and start from the bottom to get where you're at.
That's what was funny about the Miz thing was, I forget that we're called AMs and Pro and Am, or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Where like Daniel Bryan had like a decade ahead of the Miz, but Miz was the pro in that situation and it was like could out wrestle the shit out of him any day of the week, but they had to act like that was not the case.
Exactly. And from him to going that, then when he finally turned heel and started doing the yes movement, the yes, people were not doing it yet. But then later on, it attracted the audience, it attracted the fans, it attracted me when it started to become, him now turning into babyface and
A little engine that could.
Yeah, and it cultivated his career. A lot of people were going for him. This was a time when CM Punk was hot too at the time. And so, but CM Punk saw that with Daniel Bryan, that it was now his turn. This is his moment now because a lot of people were really pushing for him being a 5'8", 5'8", 5'9", somewhere around there. That's another one right there that Vince did not want it to push because he was a small guy. But the crowd went over and got behind him. And when that yes movement started, it got to me as well. As a fan, he inspired me because it's like more like you don't give up on your dreams. You do not give up regardless of your size or anything at all. You push and you go for whatever the hell you want. And this is what this gentleman did. And remind you that WrestleMania 30 was not supposed to be him. It was supposed to be Triple H, Randy Orton, and Batista. They changed and Batista said it himself. Why the fuck are you bringing me in knowing this kid is hot? Why are you making me win the Rumble? This kid is hot. Why? And Vince was like athetical, necio, like stubborn, wanted to push this old-timers, no, not disrespecting Batista or Hunter or Orton, but wanted to push what these main eventers already main evented prior before WrestleMania. It's about damn fucking time to change it. And so until he had to give up, he's like, oh, fuck, put him in there. That's it. This should have been CM Punk, Daniel Bryan, WrestleMania 30. That should have been it. Because CM Punk should have never lost the belt. He should have held that belt and dropped it to Daniel Bryan. And that would have put Bryan way over compared to what it did at that WrestleMania 30. Don't get me wrong, it did, but it should have put him way over. And so kudos to Daniel Bryan.
Yeah, I think I don't know if this is conspiratorial. This is my opinion. At WrestleMania 30, what else happened prior to Bryan winning that match?
What else happened? Oh, the streak. The streak, obviously.
Okay, so I think that Undertaker losing is deliberately connected to Bryan winning. I think they gave you the lowest low in WrestleMania history just to pop you that much more for the Bryan win. Because he had to go through Triple H to get to Batista, right? That's the order. It was like the first match and the last match.
Yes.
Taker right in the middle. That crowd was dead silent. Look at the reaction. Look at the energy level of the universe when Bryan was coming out. Not a hand was in a pocket for that entire match. I think they deliberately brought you down on that Taker loss just to jack you the fact back up when Bryan won that belt. I think that was Taker's sacrifice to the wrestling gods was to get that kid over that bigger.
I don't think it was intentional, though. I don't think they.
You don't think Vince did that?
No.
You think he just wanted Taker to lose just to lose?
Yep.
Oh man, I like my idea better.
It's a way better idea, but I don't think it was intentional.
I agree. I don't think so. I don't think it was intentional.
It's a great idea.
Yeah.
I don't think maybe. I mean, when you think how smart Vince is, he could have done that. He could have also not done that.
You see?
But I like to think that because that crowd was dead silent. And I think they had like a cooler match back when they used to put like a women's match after like a big fight, you know?
Yeah.
And then they would,
But see, according to, I think it was this WrestleMania, according to Total Divas, they ran out of time to have that Divas match, to put it in. So that's why they took it out. And that's why we had them back to back.
Right. But that's not why they had Taker lose. The only reason the only reason that I heard Vince explain why Taker lost was sometimes the wrestling community gives to you, and sometimes they take from you. And I was like, that's not what? That does not explain the booking. So I came up with my explanation of the book. I like it, and that's how I feel every time I watch that.
He just wanted to satisfy Brock Lesnar. That's it. Period. That's just how I
feel
about it.
You think okay?
That's how I feel about it because I mean that was his baby right there. That was his ticket. You know, like to get people to come in attendance. Like, come on, how many times he's booked them every fucking year, and then always with Roman, or not Roman, Seth. I mean, always.
And always squashing. Always a squash.
Yeah. So
All
I
right,
mean,
well, you know,
that's how I mean. You know, everybody has.
I
But
feel
good shit.
There's no wrong answers. It's
No,
it's all good.
It's an answer that I don't think that none of us will ever know. Only Taker and Vince knows. But I guarantee you that Taker did not want to lose. I don't think he wanted to lose at all. That's how I feel about it. But, you know, it is what it is. But, yes, Daniel Bryan.
My camera keeps auto-shutting off, so if
No worries. No worries.
If you want to edit that in post, when it goes black, just cut to a full screen of one of you guys.
So, all right. So, yeah, Daniel Bryan, my number one, definitely. So, that was a really good inspiration. A good, great storytelling, especially with that one with the monster.
God, I love your list. Can't wait to hear the next two honorable mentions.
Well, okay. My honorable mention, I'm going to have to – shit. All right, this is going to be a tough one. Not really, because you know what? This is another ECW alumni. This is our Rob Van Dam. When he was Robbie E in WCW, his accomplishments wasn't there. Like, he was a mid-card. He was not even a mid-card level yet. He was pretty how he said Scott Hall was beginning in his career as well in WCW. Mm-hmm. So it was kind of like him, like Rob Van Dam was the same. He kind of like little by little and took his martial arts, what he learned, and when he implemented the WCW, the first finishing move was that splitting moonsault. That was like his finisher. Yeah, that was his finisher in WCW. And then later on, I guess they got bored of him and let him go. That was it. He did what he had to do in an independent scenes. Paul Heyman picked him up, and he changed his gimmick around, and he just became, the whole effing show, the whole 420,
Mr. PPV.
Mr. PPV, and it did get him to a lot of heights because a lot of people wanted to book him. A lot of people wanted to sign him. Like Eric Bischoff wanted him back. And Vince actually wanted him too. Rob Van Dam did not want to go. And this was a time
he was supposed to go to a Raw, right? Like when he started calling himself Mr. Monday Night, there was like a secret booking where he was going to cross promote over onto a Raw for like a one time and then go back to ECW like the next day.
Yeah, that was the deal, but the deal kind of went off. But he did show up actually. He did show up to Raw. He was Mr. Monday Night. Yeah,
it was like 25 years ago. So yeah,
he showed up. I mean, because they were doing cross promotion at the time. Vince helping Paul. At the time, and
ballroom name drop.
Exactly. They had Lawler too, like with that as well. Just I love that storyline. By the way, that was a great storyline. Lawler going against ECW.
I love that venue.
I gotta say some of the name also came from just because of the resemblance with him and Jean-Claude Van Damme.
But that's literally where it came from.
That's where it came from.
There's no conspiracy behind it. It's not some of this, some of it. It's literally.
It was the same thing with Kid Cash because he looks like Kid Rock.
Kid Rock, yeah.
Yeah, their faces look similar. That's why it's you might as well because you kind of look like that guy.
Yeah.
So, Imagine if Billy Kidman went with Tony Hawk or Billy Hawk because he looks like Tony Hawk a little bit.
I've never ever thought about that ever. Do you think that
Josh, who is not with us today, actually pointed that out. Billy Kidman resembles.
I'd have to really look at them for that one. That's a stretch for me as of right now because I've watched Billy Kidman for 20 years and I've never even
seen the Tony Hawk face on his face, that nose and that chin. It's a very Tony Hawkish type face. If he went with that, but then you'd just get another skateboarding gimmick and it'd be like the Dynamic Dudes and
him and Darby Allin. Or who is John Laurinaitis?
Douglas and John Laurinaitis.
People power.
With the skateboard, and he didn't know how to skateboard. Who
was
the Dynamic Dudes? He said it was an acid trip by what's his name. Who was that?
Was that Michael Hayes came up with that?
No. That guy who was a pizza guy who got in charge of WCW. What was his name? The guy before Bill Watts. What's his face? The one everybody.
Bischoff used to work for.
Not before Bischoff. It was before Bischoff. I forgot his name.
Yeah, same. If I heard it, I'd be like, oh, but yeah, no idea.
Before Bishop, anyway, I don't know who. I don't know.
Rob Van Dam on your honorable mentions.
Yeah,
definitely. I loved it, and it worked out. He became, from there ECW champ to WWE champ. Being the first one holding both ECW and WWE.
What do you say?
And man, when that ECW that was an 05 or 06 was it? 05, right? The one when he beat John Cena, it was an 05, right? One night stand. 06? Okay, 06, one night stand. I loved it because the whole if Cena wins, we riot. I'm like, yeah, they were going crazy. And they were behind RVD. That was an awesome fucking pay-per-view. I loved it. I love that RVD won it. It sucks that it was short-lived. Because of Sabu.
Jim Herd, that was who I was thinking of.
The weed.
I know. That story is such a good, bad story. What a way to go out, man.
Yep.
Just
the
a
weed.
bunch of weed in their car.
And it stank. They were this close to get away with it, but then
if it wasn't for you pesky kids.
No, Sabu was supposed to air freshen the car. And he forgot. He was too fucking high, and RVD was driving. He told him, like, oh, we're fucked down. And that's what happened.
I promise you it takes more than a little bit of air freshener to get the stank.
Oh, way more, bro.
Especially with a professionally trained police officer.
Make sure it ain't an Officer Doofy, right?
Oh, God.
You smell this? You smell this?
And my other honorable mention, believe it or not, I wanted to add him, but he's my honorable mention because he deserves it. I don't know how you guys are going to feel about it, but that would be The Godfather.
Yes, I love it.
Papa Shango.
Fantastic.
Because
from Kama Mustafa.
From Papa Shango to Kama Mustafa to being Kama just in, the nation. And then changing it to The Godfather. Like, oh, yeah, up to the coach.
Your favorite theme song of all time, The Right to Censor.
Oh, hell. Oh, my God.
The Good Father.
The Good Father.
I got to say again, that's not a song.
That is the worst gimmick change list is every member of that faction. It's
exactly.
all five of them make the list.
But definitely the Godfather made a name for himself for him. Showing his real pimpiness, which he is a real pimp. We all know that.
Dude was a general manager of like Cheetahs in Vegas. Yeah. And that's a big deal, man. Like,
yeah.
I used to live next to that place, and that's a premier club. So I've heard from people that have been there. I've never been there, but
I mean, yeah, Godfather is another one, man. I could mention so many other more, and a lot of more gimmicks, but damn, this is what I have but Godfather, kudos to him, and now a Hall of Famer. And he pulled it off.
I can't dispute anyone on that list. Don't even worry.
Anybody can dispute it?
No.
Nobody?
No Nidos?
No Nido? High flyer Nido? One move? Jesus Christ. All right, Mr. Hero, the floor is yours.
All right. Is this thing on? All right, here we go. So, let's see. I really like this list, and let's see what you guys think. So number 5, Broken Matt Hardy.
Oh, yes.
And I'm talking about the TNA version. Because I never really was a TNA fan or tuned in continuously or consistently. But when I started hearing about Matt Hardy again and all this hype going on between the final deletion, this and have you been seeing what's going on in TNA?
You're Benjamin.
And I was like, no, I have no idea what is this. And I watched the final deletion, and I was very surprised. I was like, wait, what is this? But then it just kind of. It was different. It was just, completely different from anything he had done. And at the same time, it worked. I do like, I wish he would have done it as a heel in WWE or in AEW. I think it could work kind of like a composer, like evil composer, like Beethoven or Mozart sort of thing. So
time traveling madman.
Yeah, exactly. And his current vessel could have been very successful, but alas, here we are with regular.
Our drone, we shall transport Brother Nero.
There you go.
Good.
The lake of reincarnation also, and all that good stuff. The mower of lawns, the chair on wheels. You know, we could. Yes, all of that.
I didn't hate the leader of worlds, but Vince was like, I don't get it.
Yeah, Vince never got that shit. Oh my god.
Over his head.
Hey, but he can say that he headlined
Like
Monday
over
Night
said,
Raw.
like Vanguard won.
Mhm.
I knew you come.
There you go.
On Vanguard
Love
run,
that.
brother
That's
Nero.
my favorite number 5.
I was conflicted between that and this upcoming one for number 5 and or 4. I feel like they're
I'm only gonna call Jeff
interchangeable.
Hardy brother Nero, by the way. Just
I mean, that's his middle name. That's his real kayfabe name, so that's pretty dope.
Ah, interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting
Yeah,
factoid
Jeffrey
there.
Nero Hardy.
My next number 4 is the Hurricane. So
Yeah.
coming from a boy band or wannabe boy
3
band,
count was the
whatever,
shit. I love me some 3 count. I don't give a fuck.
and all that stuff, and going to a new company where you're seeing as coming from the enemy and not knowing what was going to happen, to pinning The Rock on Monday Night Raw. For me, the Hurricane is number 4. A storyline that I wish I would have seen, and I thought that they were going to go with it this way, was when Rosie was the superhero in training, that Rosie was eventually going to turn into a supervillain and kind of have that rivalry, like between him and the Hurricane. I thought that they were going to go it that way, but it did not. So, but yeah, the Hurricane had a lot of cool moments. One of my particularly favorite moments was when the Rock called him the Hamburglar. Oh my goodness! And that he was gonna stick chicken nuggets up his ass.
Oh.
So great moment, awesome moment there.
I gotta watch that again. I'm gonna have to watch it.
My number 3 is Husky Harris,
Oh,
aka
yeah.
Bray Wyatt.
Let me in.
Yes, man, what a change there. In NXT, in I believe it was the 2nd season, he was Husky Harris. And if you would have told me that guy was going to be a 2-time Universal Champion, 1-time WWE Champion, I would have been like, that guy. But he's made it work, and he's well on his way. If he keeps going at this pace, maybe even a Hall of Fame career.
He quits
You never
watching him for no reason every 2 weeks.
So there you go. Number 3. Number 2, The Rock, the biggest paid actor in the planet, right? He comes from the world of wrestling, from a wrestling family. Started with the story goes that $7 in his pocket, and now he is filthy rich. So this guy has changed up his gimmicks, or has made different gimmicks for since turning into The Rock. I always enjoyed his 2003 run as Hollywood Rock. When he would do the rock concerts and stuff like that, and I enjoy when anybody plays guitar on wrestling, like with Elias and whatnot. There you go.
Whenever people say rock music is dead, I'm like, Dwayne Johnson's very much alive, and then send him the video of him playing guitar. The
Exactly.
Rock says the people should kiss his ass, so said The Rock.
And so number 2, obviously The Rock, and number 1, super obvious, the Texas Rattlesnake, Stone Cold Steve Austin.
What?
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 You know what my watch is telling me? It's telling me that Stone Cold is number 1 because, he from getting fired from WCW and, starting from scratch in ECW, and then the Ringmaster stuff happened, to, being the biggest star of the Attitude Era, and all that good stuff, and, Hall of Famer, and he's as successful as anyone, So definitely my number 1 is Stone Cold. So 2 honorable mentions. I put these here because they're kind of questionable to me, but they for whatever reason they stood out. The first being the Hardy Boys. So I guess it's not really a gimmick because they were just opening the King of the Ring doors or whatever. But they were just extras, and they were just put on TV as some no-name kids.
From the Wisp, and they wore masks. Yeah.
Yeah, and then next thing you know, they're Team Extreme, and they're in some of the greatest matches. And I'm talking about the TLC matches. Greatest matches of all time, with Edge and Christian and the Dudley Boys. So, definitely I believe that they're going to go into the Hall of Fame as a tag team for sure. And my second honorable mention is a female. I remember...
I tried to do that. I tried to find one, but go ahead. Sorry.
No, it's cool. Trish Stratus. So she started off as a manager.
Oh, yeah.
She did. She was Vince McMahon's. She was crawling.
BITCH. I'd say that.
There you go. She was crawling around for Vince and barking and all that stuff.
Kiss My Ass Club, right?
And what was that?
The Kiss My Ass Club.
Oh yeah, he tried to get her in there too. But I remember Survivor Series 2001. I believe she turned face a little bit before it, and she won the title at Survivor Series 2001.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden, she started changing everything. Like her way of being in the ring and stuff, taken a lot more seriously. And she's a Hall of Famer now. So, huge difference from her first year to everything that happened after that title win. So, huge change.
I agree 100%. That really cultivated her career as well. And for her to change her gimmick from being that from a manager to being in singles run competition and changing her gimmick, as in she's no longer that that your typical, all due respect to women, I'm not trying to respect at all, it's just no pun intended, it's just your typical blonde ones are like, hey, that's it, like you're just an heir, but she changed a lot in her ring abilities especially, and I think that's what really topped it up more, because she became more athletic, and how you said, she took it very serious. And from there, love her rivalry from Lita, from Victoria to Jazz, to even Ivory too as well. So many rivalries that she had. That's why she's a seven-time former women's champion.
Yeah, she took the ring learning seriously. Like, she went from being a supermodel to an actual in-ring performer, and you can see that she didn't just want to be there. I can say this because of her gimmick, but she went from being literally TNA just for the cameras to an actual performer, and
agreed.
Realistic, totally believable in the ring. Her match with Lita, which could go in the Hall of Fame if they had a wing for just great matches, should be the first female match to go in that.
Oh yeah, definitely. And then with the Hardy Boys, your honorable mentions, that it makes sense because how you said Hardy Boys went from extras to becoming jobbers on main event,
Shotgun
Saturday night. Mm-hmm. Remind you that even the Young Bucks were wearing too when they were Generation Me. Yeah, when they were in Pro Wrestling Guerrilla as well. They were all wearing those styles of attire that it was colorful. And it's also, Matt and Jeff were doing the same thing. Even they both had individual singles run as well as as jobbers. They jobbed to Razor Ramon, to 1, 2, 3 Kid at the time. So, and then for them to, finally they got signed.
Jeff was 16 in that Razor Ramon match, by the way. Just throw that out there. Jeff was 16 in that Razor Ramon match, dude. Yep. Wow. I didn't even know you could do that.
Well, I'm telling you, you saw Sean Wallman. He came in strong early age. The same with him.
Yeah.
And, and then think, Dory Funk, praise to that man. He did a good job training the Hardys, training Edge and Christian, training Val Venus, Kurt Angle. I can name him. His class for Dory Funk's, class was that. He was the main person for WWF, first of all. So he's the one that brought up, the Hardy Boys. And then alongside putting him with Michael Hayes helped out a lot. That ladder match, the first ladder match for Terry Runnels, No Mercy. Yeah. That's what it took him off. They won the crowd after that. After that, they won the crowd.
People forget that they dressed up Michael Hayes like he rated a Hot Topic. It was totally dad style.
Sing up. Oh, big time.
You had like Jinkos and tribal shit. It was great.
It was awesome. I loved it because whoever expected Michael Hayes to dress like that too, it was like, what?
Yeah.
Hey,
I was like, all right, whatever.
But I mean, it makes sense. Free birds.
Yeah.
That's Michael Hayes.
Michael Hayes is a great. Like
I
I don't want to say it, like a mentor. You know, like kind of like what Matt Hardy's doing the Private Party right now.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. When it comes to in ring, hands down to Michael Hayes because he's a great mind thinker of that.
Yeah, he's a great mentor for just the business in the back.
Yep, but not as a fucking producer or writer. Nope, you gotta go. You're old. You're done too, man. You're washed up. You washed up. But anyways, all right. That's off the subject. All right. So we got best for last. He's a CKOne himself, Mr. Chris Kennedy. Say it.
Woo! All right. So this list, I ended up backing myself into a corner with my own list because I had to write some rules for myself to not get carried away here. So the rules I made for myself was you could not have already been an established name. So disqualified from the list on my list would be Hulk Hogan to Hollywood Hogan, the incarnations of Jericho, people that were already household names into just heel or face changes. I had to take those off because there's way too many. I tried to make the move from the immediate gimmick to the next immediate gimmick, so you didn't jump 3 gimmicks and end at the successful one. And then your contribution to the game. After I did that, the list kind of fell into place. The order might be questionable. I'm a little disappointed that a lot of these are all WWF wrestlers. It just is what it is because it's just the most popular brand worldwide. So the change is felt, ripples across the literal universe, not just the in-ring universe. This is the first choice I have. I doubled up on it. I'll tell you why once it happens. And it's not on anybody else's list.
Really?
Yeah. None of you are going to disagree. I guarantee it.
Check it out.
All right, ready?
Ready.
Bart Gunn.
Mm.
Oh, dog. New Age Outlaws.
Mm.
Yep, I agree.
Immediate
Well done,
gimmick
sir.
change. From a gimmick that was either dead end, not going anywhere, to nobody really cared about. They were definitely not going to be main eventers in those characters. To very easily top 2 greatest tag teams in the history of all time ever.
It was pretty.
Merch-wise, mic-wise. Not single-handedly, but as in DX, that incarnation of DX definitely helped to the downfall of WCW during the ratings war. That version of DX that it showed up on Raw after WrestleMania 14 was the beginning of the end for the Monday Night Wars. Every time these guys walked out, if you did not scream along to every single word of the DX script with either one of these guys, who are you? Like, your adrenaline just pumps when you hear that do. Oh, you didn't know?
No.
Yeah. As soon as you hear that crowd popped. The X's were flying. It was awesome. Who would have thought the 2 cowboy hick gimmicks from out of nowhere would just become the most absurd, obscene tag team of all time?
I always wondered what was the Vince and Cowboys, man. Yeah, I always wonder why does he always do that.
I think it was just leftover good old boy shit. The whole.
Oh, I like Cowboys. I like them.
The new Midnight Express. The Godwins.
Cowboy Bob Orton.
No, Godwins were more. They weren't no Cowboys. They were more hillbillies. But I get you. They're more southern. I know.
That's like one took apart in the DNA.
Southern.
Right
Yeah.
I got a soft spot in my heart for anyone in DX before the Terry era. So these boys right there were part of that. And a great gimmick change. Super awesome. Merch gods. Absolutely.
All right. So that's your number 5.
Yeah, they're both that's both number 5. It's not 4 and 5. It's 5. I figured who my number 4 is. Let's find out. Oh, that's right. So he went immediately from fake D to Kane. And no one saw that coming. I don't think the character or the actor or the person, Ben Jacobs, was on anybody's radar to make any waves at all.
I did mention him, by the way.
No, you definitely did. The only people so far that aren't on the list that anyone else had was New Age Outlaws. You weren't fooling anybody. We knew it was fake Razor, fake Diesel. I think that was the joke. I think it was more of a middle finger to the outsiders than trying to pull one over on the fans.
I agree.
It was a dead-end gimmick. You can't go back and change things, but I'm glad it went the direction it did. He debuted in the iconic Hell in a Cell WrestleMania, or not WrestleMania, Hell in a Cell in '97. That's gotta be Kane!
That's gotta be Kane!
He rips the cage door down. He choke slams Taker. Pyro everywhere. I think Michaels ended up getting the win because of that. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes. Bam. Memory. Yeah, Kane, an icon. He's one of the last big guys of all time to really still technically kind of be around, I guess you could say. I mean, he's wrestled as early as late last year, I think, in Saudi Arabia.
Horrible.
Anyways, that happened. But yeah, he was going nowhere with the Isaac Yankem or the Diesel gimmick.
Hell no.
I am sure.
We all knew. Like I said, we all knew why the Isaac Yankem, because Vince had a bad experience. That he hates the dentist. That's why he created that character.
Yeah.
And with the fake Diesel, how you said, I agree with you. I think he pretty much tried to give a finger to Hall and Nash for failing on him. Like, motherfuckers, like, I was trying to give you more, give you money, but more money over there, less states. So
yeah, work less, pay more.
Yep.
I don't blame anyone who took any of those deals.
No, I don't either. I don't. I mean, who wouldn't want to feel, if we were in that position, of course, I would have too.
Absolutely. Greener pastures, man. Like, for a job that involves getting hurt and bad ideas, yeah. My number 3, the original character was also not going anywhere, and I think he would have just been legitimately booed everywhere he went if he were to continue that character, but it was the Blue Chipper, Mr. Nice Guy, John Cena, into Thugonomics John Cena.
Word life.
Yeah.
Basic thugonomics.
Mark Wahlberg. Yeah.
Mark Wahlberg ate Mark Wahlberg.
I'm sorry. I love Mark Wahlberg and
I do too.
The other guys. That was my favorite movie.
Yeah, that's just funny with the Rock, right? And he jumps off the building and explodes.
Yeah. There goes my.
Yeah. The hardest worker in the business, you can't deny that. But that gimmick change definitely put him over the top. The guy's done over 500 Make-A-Wish Foundation requests.
The only one in the Guinness World Record.
Yeah, that's more than anyone by 498.
What?
There's a reason for that. He's, I guess you could say, relatable. He's at least down to earth in that character. But yeah, that character was over like Rover, man. He just sold it he literally hustle, loyalty, respect, man. That guy got that character over, 16-time world champion, and no turning back, man. Which brings me to number 2. Basically the same thing happened to him. He was going nowhere with that character. He was getting booed out of the building for the very same reason, because he was too clean, too happy. I don't think he knew where the hard camera was, and he smiled way too much.
Baby face.
And that would be Rocky Maivia.
There we go.
The Rock. The icon. The greatest mic man in the history of the business, with in-ring skills that matched. His improv skills in interviews in verbal spat against anyone who came out. I think he buried Jericho in Jericho's debut, which was why I didn't like Jericho debuting during a Rock segment, because Rock just verbally beat him back to WCW essentially. You can't be clever, quicker, or off your toes like The Rock. That dude, I mean, there's a reason he's in movies right now and is the number 1, not just pro wrestling actor in the history of the world, but he's didn't you say the number 1 actor in general in the world right now?
He's the highest paying actor right now.
Yeah. And I mean, he does play The Rock in every single movie. Who cares?
The Rock, Dwayne Johnson.
Yeah.
I just can't wait until they do a Fast and Furious 10. Wait, is this going to be 10 or 11? I know 9 is
35.
I don't know when, but they should have The Rock and Cena together.
It'll happen in 10, I feel.
I think it's going to happen in 10. And I think that's what's going to happen. The Rock and Cena for the first time together.
Like Cena plays like a bad guy or something.
Yeah, Cena's a bad guy. He's what's his face? Brother.
Toretto's brother.
Yeah, Toretto's brother. So
Wait, Toretto is like Puerto Rican.
I don't get it. You probably adopted brothers, half brothers. I don't know. You know how it works.
Wait, is this real? Are they really doing this?
Yes.
Yes.
You haven't seen
Oh,
the
I thought you were like.
No, yeah.
I thought you were like
There's a trailer for
fanfiction
it.
script.
No, there's a trailer for it already. Cena, yeah.
Cena
I
and
been?
Vin Diesel are related.
Yeah, they're never. I don't know. They're related. They're not twin brothers, half brothers. I don't know, man.
Like I could see you. I don't know his name. I don't know his character name, but Paul Walker's character. Like I could see Cena being like his older brother. Like I'm here to avenge whatever happened to Paul Walker character. You lost me at the third one. So
Universal.
Yeah.
Call us.
Walk away from Universal Studios. We can make that happen.
Give me another Tokyo Drift any day.
Tokyo Drift wasn't that bad if it was a standalone film. I promise you.
Yeah.
Yep.
But go watch Initial D if you want some real drift movies.
There you go.
Number one is no surprise. My list is pretty generic. It is absolutely the ringmaster into Stone Cold. He, pun intended, shattered the ratings as Stone Cold. He is the number one reason people tuned into Raw. He brought the WWE back to actual news broadcasts. The Tyson angle, people thought that was real. He brought people back into questioning if this was really a real thing. People were like, oh, Tyson and Stone Cold throw fists. Riot ensues tonight at 10. And it was like, is this real? Wait, is wrestling real? I completely forgot. I forgot. This looks real. He hit him. It was such a down-to-earth, not down-to-earth character. It was a believably real character for someone from Texas who had no fucks to give. Everybody hated their boss. No one got to go to Walmart and stun their shift lead. Austin got to do that. Austin got to take out the everyman anger on their white-collar boss every Monday for 3 to 4 years. The ratings monster, as soon as that glass broke.
I ain't trying to go to jail, man. So, I mean.
Yeah, right. I ain't trying to throw my Intercontinental or the Rock's title off a bridge. Yeah, man, this dude was pure adrenaline. I was 14 when he was running shit, and that mixed with just testosterone. Everything he did, I was just like, yes, do it, do more. Drink the beer, throw the beer, catch the beer, stun the beer. There's the beer. Pound one out for 316. I hated the what gimmick. What it is.
What?
I'm so glad people stopped doing that.
What?
Deservedly so. Single-handedly brought like a realistic. He was like one of the first real, like, who you are as a person is the gimmick. He brought it up to 10, and he's a lot nicer guy than the Stone Cold character. But no one saw that coming, and he brought realism back to a much needed company that was relying on fantasy and jobbed characters. Everybody had an occupation. There was like a dentist, there was a doctor, there was a tax guy, there was a teacher. Then you got Stone Cold. Yeah, he was the first to really just break that ground.
Yeah,
for real angsty, tired of your shit wrestlers.
You mentioning about the Mike Tyson storyline. You know what I did realize that I forgot that they don't do anymore? I don't know if you guys recall. Do you remember when I believe there was? I'm not sure. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think. Remember when they used to do press conferences for WrestleMania?
Yeah, they did that.
They were the first ones, right? Were they the first ones to do that and made it realistic? Like it was like a boxing, like how?
Yeah. Because Tyson had his entourage. He had people with him.
And they did it like years after.
They'd have to keep breaking up the fights between Tyson and Austin. And as you know, Tyson eventually tore the shirt off, and he had the 316 underneath. Spoiler alert. If you're not 26 years old, is that how long ago?
Was it? I don't remember.
1998?
But 98. Yeah.
22 years ago. 22 years ago. Jesus Christ, man.
So, I mean, think about it. Like, that's what I'm trying to, kind of like, okay, what happened with that? Because they kind of stopped doing that, and it was like, what the hell?
I don't know if they did. I don't know if they did it with Mayweather. Mayweather and the Big Show may have done something similar.
That was the last one. I think that was, Mayweather and the Big Show was the last one that did like
Yeah.
a press conference that way. And ever since then, it died out.
They could have done that with Tyson Fury and
Oh,
Braun
Braun Strowman.
Strowman. Yeah, that would be
Yeah,
the right
but
spot.
they did it at a WWE live event. Well, you know, like how I mean, not with a crowd. They did it with in the stadium.
Yeah,
with
like
the empty.
ESPN was there. Actual journalists were there. They treated it like it was an actual circus show of press conference, and that was added to the realism of it, which was they brought reality back with that character. It's what they did.
Yeah, that's why I had to give New Japan credit because that's what they do. In their style, they do that. Pre and post, and I have to give New Japan credit.
Just like Pride. Pride used to do that too. I mean, Pride was a real sport, obviously.
Yeah. But don't forget, this is also a sport, but not,
It had a lot of Pride was obviously influenced by pro wrestling, which is like Pancrase was pro wrestling fighting, and then it became Pride, and then Dream, and then that's a big rabbit hole. That's my territory right there.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Keeps happening. I'll fix that for the next podcast. I apologize.
Noru Suzuki versus Ken Shamrock. That's a
YouTube that, and that's a match to see.
Yeah.
Honorable mention.
I'm not like trying to impress anybody with this list. It was really hard to do with the parameters I gave myself. But these were gimmick changes that changed the sport. Just hands down.
Yeah.
My first honorable mention, I forget who it is. I mean, it's one of two people, obviously. I forget what order I did them in. So let's pop in that first one. We may have talked about him before. We may have not. It was this guy.
Max Moon. Conan.
Now, this list was made, obviously. So when you brought him up earlier,
I just saw that video recently. Boosting up the stairs.
All right. So now answer my question. So was it before Aldo Montoya, right? Or it was after?
I think it was like right after. I think
right after
we had I think he debuted on maybe the first Raw ever on the undercard. It was nobody cares enough to know. But him going from that bullshit, whatever character that is, he was actually like a Martian, to the mouth of the Spanish culture, Mexican culture in WCW. Luchadors generally didn't talk.
No.
And, although Conan wasn't per se a luchador, that was his crew. And he was, I don't want to compare him, disrespectfully, but the road dog at WCW. He could get on the mic, he could talk shit, he could get into verbal spats with anybody. He had a spiel, and he would talk on behalf of that entire lucha division.
Yes.
And then when he joined the Wolfpack, he was the mouth of the Wolfpack. I love the Wolfpack. I didn't really care much about the black and white, but when the red and white showed up, I was like, oh, okay. This is more my style. This is a little bit more DX. Yeah.
Don't turn your back on the back. You might end up in the body bag.
Hell yeah. Was that Easy E or Ice? Yeah, right?
No.
They just hired some guys.
They hired some guys. I forgot who it was.
It wasn't Body Count? All right.
I think that might have been it. Yeah.
Yeah. Conan was the shit, dude. Like, he was, like I said, the voice of the Latin division in WCW when a lot of guys either didn't speak English or did not just have mic skills.
As a matter of fact, and I do apologize, but Conan did help Bishop to get a lot of them overseas to the territories, just like how he did kind of help Vince, but not really. It wasn't Conan put in his 2 cents because he was the only one that knew how to speak English and Spanish at the time. But he kind of was the middleman for Antonio Peña, rest in peace, God rest his soul, the previous owner, of AAA was, brought that relationship to the WWE at first before WCW started doing that, because then later on, that's when Conan left, went over there to WCW, he brought everybody along, Psychosis, Halloween 6, 666, Porky, I could name all of them. He brought them on, and he was the ambassador for the Mexican Lucha Libre for WCW, and him pulled it off.
Getting to be himself. That's him. That's his character. That's not a character. That's him every day.
Yeah, that's really
WCW allowing him to be himself like that helped immensely everyone you can think of in that division. And
you guys heard a story that Bruce Pritchard said, and I heard Conan keep it in 100. He kind of was pissed off that Bruce, like, how come you don't remember me? Long story short, pretty much, when after the whole WCW, was purchased, so they, they were bringing, talent in. So I forgot, someone told Bruce, here, look at this tape. It's K-Dog, man. Who the fuck is K-Dog? I don't know who is K-Dog.
I remember that.
Yeah, he was like, I don't know who's K-Dog. And then when he found out it was Conan, I'm like, oh, fuck. Like, he fucked up. He could have brought him in, And then Conan heard that interview. I mean, that story from Bruce was like, that's bullshit. He knew who the fuck I was. That's the most bullshitted shit of my life. I called them too and everything. I'm like, wow. Like, and then Bruce was put on blast, and I guess they kind of squashed the beef already. But yeah, Bruce apologized. Like, hey, look, I didn't know it was you. But damn, like, imagine if Conan would have got back, in the early, 2000s, Bruce's aggression era. Let's say he could have gone over there before TNA. When he formed it, he formed, what was it?
Had a feud with Road Dogg or something. Like, any one of those guys would have been awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Just have him just be like a pure, like, put him in something with Eddie. Have him and Eddie do something. Maybe have him be like the manager, whatever. You could have put him anywhere. It would have worked.
Big time would have worked.
And my second honorable mention, I don't know what to say about this guy because I'm not using anything I know about what I've heard about him working stiff or not, or sandbagging moves or whatever the fuck he was known for. But Bob Holly.
Ooh, spark plug.
Into hardcore Holly.
How do you like me now?
As a NASCAR racer, spark plug
to the new Midnight Express. Yeah,
the new Midnight Express with Bart Gunn. Actually, that was not a bad team. I actually enjoyed it. Actually, I was, Cornette did not do the bad with that team. I think it makes, when Billy went his own way and Bart, had it when I actually did enjoy that faction between him and Bob Holly. And I think it worked out great. But unfortunately, shit went to shit, went to sour. So for him to become Bob Holly, then bringing up his cousin, Crash Holly, then his other cousin, Molly Holly.
Molly Holly. Bob Holly was sort of an experiment at the time as far as hardcore wrestling goes, because he was not an original hardcore wrestler. He is an old school, just smash and grab type of style, like just very traditional up until that character, who was able to kind of do what a lot of guys in ECW were doing, but Vince let him do it. He did it well. He was creative. He was only over because of the hardcore wrestling. He was definitely a bully in the ring as far as that character goes. But allowing his gimmick to be weapons and violence. First of its kind in WWF. There were tons of people doing it before him, obviously, in ECW. Like, Tommy Dreamer comes to mind. There's a lot of similarities between the two. But for Bob Holly to do that on mainstream television and be booed as a character but cheered for the violence was awesome. He was the first person to grab a weapon and then get cheered for it. Like, I think Hardcore Holly might have predated when the Dudleys came over and did the Get the Tables gimmick. It might have been parallel. It might have been almost exactly the same time. Mm-hmm. But as a singles wrestler and then into sort of adding the comedy elements of Crash and Molly, and he still stayed stoic and kind of like, I'm going to beat the hell out of you. That was a great gimmick change. I didn't see it coming. I was kind of surprised by it. I was like, is that Sparkplug with a table and a giant gash in his back?
Oh,
like, if you remember, he got put through a table. And
by Rob Van Dam and ECW. That suplex.
It cut him from like liver to rib. It's gruesome. The fact that they didn't just stop that match, it was like a shark bite.
He didn't want to stop it. He wanted to continue the match.
It should be up to him.
But, but at that time, when you're full of adrenaline, you want to finish. Every pro wrestler have always said it. They always want to finish a job. And even though back then, now it's different because now obviously it changed. A lot of things change. Like, for example, I'll give you one example. Like with Gargano, what happened to him with Ridge Holland a while back, there was a power slam that went wrong, and Triple H stopped it. Like, nope, fuck that, I'm stopping it, nope. And Gargano's like, no, I wouldn't. Shut the fuck up, you're not going to continue. Wait. He went to go check. It was a taping anyway, so it was fine. So he went to go get checked. then they restarted the match and finish off whatever they had to do. Right here, obviously, was live television, and during that time, they didn't really give a shit. And Holly didn't care. We finished the job, and kudos to him. He should be in the Hall of Fame as well.
Oh, for sure. He's definitely going because, he was in WWF for 10 years. I think 10 to 15 years before the Hardcore Holly gimmick. And he was just always lingering right under mid-card. He had the tag belt. You know, he was, I don't think ever Intercontinental title, but he was kind of in that mix in the early 90s as Sparkplug. But he wasn't moving up at all in the, at least fan-wise. And up until R-Truth, wasn't he like the record holder for the Hardcore title? The original record holder?
No, I think it's Crash Holly, the one with the record holder.
Crash Holly had him more. Okay, there was a Holly involved for sure.
Crash Holly had him more. Bob, though, I mean, they tried. If you remember when, that feud with Lesnar, they tried. They pushed the storyline as much as they can with him. And the people were actually getting behind Holly because they know, how you said, they know his hardcore persona. He's a brawler, and the crowd was. The problem with him, and I don't know if you guys will disagree with me or not, I feel has always been his mic skills. There's no charisma in the camera.
Oh, the dude makes Steve Blackman look like RVD. So there's that. But
I mean, if you pay attention to all of his promos, it doesn't get to me. Even for him to be taken that serious, that storyline with Lesnar, he broke my freaking neck and all this crap, and it was so hard to take him serious. And then if the match itself was a lot of green, and so it was his first time being, in the title picture, especially
exactly.
Especially
what he wasn't doing in previous gimmicks besides, as a tag champion. So that's why he would be on the list.
Yeah, I mean, he's competed for the European. He's competed for the Intercontinental. He's competed for singles titles, and we all thought that he would win. But, I mean, the main title, this is a big deal. You're actually finally getting pushed after so many years. If you paid your dues, and now you're there, and you kind of fuck it up. And I know that, it sucks that it went that route. How you saw how it ended so quick, that storyline between him and Brock. They didn't continue with it because you could tell that it was a lot of green on Bob.
I think it was over after Survivor Series. I think.
I believe so. I don't remember.
It was when Brock dropped him on his head because he was sandbagging, right, for some particular personal reason.
Well, yeah, because Holly. That's another thing. Another thing too with him, that his stories that I know of, and what I hear from everybody, what I've read of, he's always been a bully with the rookies. He always punks them around. He's always been the bully back, behind the scenes. And that's what he tried to do to Lesnar as well. But, when that, Lesnar kind of that was a botch between both of them. There was no perfect timing. And that's Lesnar's fault too, because you could tell that he literally let him go. I think it looked like it was done purposely, but I to each his own. I don't know. I wasn't there, and I wasn't there taking the move. But the way how it looks, it looked like it was purposely. But I don't know.
Yeah, I've seen some botched power bombs. Raven and Canyon on La Parca and Halloween, they used to try to do a power bomb into a neck breaker, and somebody botched it. And I think it was La Parca. I'm sorry if I'm wrong, but went straight on his neck, and he was out for a while. So, it's a dangerous move. It is an in sync by both people. You both have to want to do it and both want to know how to do it. Yeah. Yeah,
I definitely agree. Man, I love it. Wow.
Really? I love all of you guys, but I think Ivan's list definitely smokes my list for damn sure. Mine was just I'm like, oh, these are all just everyone's going to say. It's the top 5 besides New Age Outlaws. Generic big WWF guys, but those are just by the rules I've set for myself the greatest gimmick changes in the history of the world.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot more that we could include. Obviously, we could include
Hurricane was sick. That was nice.
We We get into Mick Foley's gimmicks. You know, his as well went over. Obviously, Cactus Jack was the first one.
Yeah.
In the independent scene and the Japanese scene, that one went over in Japan when he came to the States, and then when he did Mankind in WWF, that put him over. So that's another person we can add to that list. Shit, we could even add.
I know you know his name. I don't know his name off the top of my head because I stopped watching TNA Impact for a while. But Abyss into whatever that character is now, the secretary guy. I was thinking about that too.
Secretary guy.
AJ Styles' assistant.
Oh, you're talking about Joseph Park, Abyss, right?
Yeah, Abyss into that IRS type character. That was something I was throwing around, but
oh yeah, Joseph Park.
It wasn't a household name, so I was just like, nah. F it.
No, I mean, I don't. For me, I don't think it put him over as Joseph Parks.
Right.
I think Abyss was perfectly original by himself.
It was just giant Mankind, which is pretty great.
Yeah, it was like a big version of Mankind. Well, we can name a lot of them. Who else? I can actually say. Damn it! Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm about to say shit.
There's not a lot of females. I really tried to think of females. I was like, Lita.
Good job, by the way.
Becky Lynch, because she went from like the Irish girl into
the last kicker. Yeah.
Who can we name?
Geniality into Lita, but that's still not really a gimmick change.
You know what? I would have to say Ivory. She was the most hated.
From Glow Ivory to like
right to center.
Ivory.
Yeah. I have to say it, but that put her over. People had despised her, and it got to me.
You got a reaction, Eddie? You got a reaction, man.
How about Mighty Molly? How about Mighty Molly to Molly Holly? Because she was like Mighty Molly.
How about Mona? Miss Mona with Macho Man.
Oh shit!
This Mona she didn't do anything. but Molly Holly could wrestle. The Molly go round, that's dope, dude. A top rope front flip senton onto a seat, like. I love that move. I can't believe someone could do that move onto other women of their size.
And Mark Henry from Sexual Chocolate to the House of Pain.
Oh, that's right. Welcome to the Wall of Pain. There, Wall of Pain. Yep, Mark Henry too. That's another one. There's a lot of gimmicks that we could say that really got put over.
Yeah, for sure.
It could go. We could make this into a top 20 for sure.
Definitely, like I was gonna say Sami Zayn, but nah, it's not gonna work out with Sami Zayn because he was already built as a generico, and obviously the crowd knew who he was because they were ole 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 ole, so everybody knew who he was, But Kevin Owens, Kevin Owens is another one by himself, and there's so much. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for tuning in for week 24 of the top 5 best gimmick changes of all time. I love this list. I loved everybody's picks, and I would like to hear your comments. So make sure you write down below and give us your thoughts. Who do you have as your best, gimmick change that you prefer, or tell us what we forgot about. So don't forget also to subscribe to our channel right at the end of this video as well. And also we're gonna post one mention that we did not. We do apologize. You're gonna see it. Obviously, in the beginning of the video, and they're going to say, why is it there in the beginning? So I'm telling you at the end now. Ray Rosas, our brother Ray Rosas, much love to you, brother, made his first pick on the top 5. He's a busy man, but he at least chose one that none of us chose because we had a respect of his pick, which was JBL. And I agree with him 100%.
Yeah.
He went from.
If he didn't say JBL, I probably would have put JBL down.
Me too. I would have put JBL. If he would have said JBL, I would have put him in that list. And he fits in that list, especially because he became one of the longest ratings WWE champion.
One of the most hated characters ever.
Oh, my God. I mean, yeah. I can mention another person's name, but I don't because that mentions politics. So I'm not going to do it. So, but yes, I mean, he was like one of those type of people that was hated. Yeah, but yeah, definitely. I give kudos to that man, and to JBL, I'll give kudos to him for taking that character and went all the way with it. From a Texas man to a beer drinker to in the market, New York market, you know, but still wearing the cowboy hat. He pulled it off. Gotta give it to him, that limo. And then this cabinet, you know, with the Basham brothers and you know Orlando Jordan. That was a good stable.
Yeah, that was very hated. Very hated. I didn't like any of that. Like, not like hate. Like, didn't enjoy it. I enjoyed it. I like hating it.
Gave it good heat. Basically.
Yeah, good heat.
That was good hate. It was fucking hate. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, thank you once again for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel right below at the end, and also our all those other social media platforms that you'll see in the description below. So stay tuned for also next Sunday, as we're gonna have, since we have Hell in a Cell coming up. Obviously, we will discuss our top 5 best Hell in a Cell matches. You know, from past to the present, and so I'm looking forward to discuss about that. And also, don't forget to stay tuned for next Friday as well for episode number 25. So stay tuned for that. And also, stay tuned. We have other upcoming interviews, you know, coming up. Obviously, you saw the one this past Saturday, which was the wrestling guy. You'll see that, and we hope you guys enjoyed that one. But stay tuned. Once again, we will have more interviews coming up and surprises and much more to come. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. See you guys will see with the Matt's World, with Matt Cassidy, or Orange Matt. Right now he's playing
Carbonation Cabron.
Oh yeah, Carbonation Cabron with That'd be what was it? The Mandarin Cassidy or what?
Yeah, Mandarin Matt. Yeah,
Mandarin Matt right there.
That's still good.
Oh, and then we have the hero of all heroes. He's opening up an ice cream bar from the WWE. Who's that right there?
Is it Macho Man?
I wish it was. Oh yeah! Oh, it is! Yeah, you guessed it
I want
right.
ice cream.
Dig it! That's right.
I'm gonna buy one.
Shout out to CM Punk for bringing these back.
That's right.
One of those.
Actually, I have a couple of them in the freezer.
All right, bring them over. You know where I live.
All right, yeah, I know where you live. Yeah, when I go to the office tomorrow, I'll bring it over. I'll call you for lunch.
Dude, I'm off. Let's do it.
Just because of that, I'm gonna buy an ice cream sandwich, like at 7-Eleven.
Yeah, just call Goldbelly, the company that flies it from anywhere in the world.
And also we have the Mister, but he's a CKOne, and it should have been him.
Should have been.
Should have been him. CKOne.
Wow, I look like Jeff Hardy when I do that.
Ah, you just need...
Yeah, I just need to get the beard strap. I mean, I got plugs. Shit.
Well,
Man.
we might dress up for Halloween. I think. Well, are we gonna dress up for Halloween or not? I think we are.
Maybe.
Yeah, why not?
Of course.
Okay, we should do it for the episode. Obviously, we'll do it, and that will be for episode number 26 that we will dress up for you guys. And that'll be obviously, you'll see that we'll go dress up. Professional wrestlers. So I know Mike has his already. I'll have mine.
Is that a list day or is that just a review day?
It's both. We're gonna do a review. We're gonna do
I'm
both.
dressing the entire weekend.
Me too. I have to dress up the entire weekend. Either way, I'm gonna do it.
If you don't have a list idea, I might have the stupidest shit, best outfits. Just the best in-ring attire.
You know what? We'll do that
That's
then.
really good.
That sounds really good. We could.
It's so silly, but I love it because
A lot of people spend time on outfits, so.
Yeah,
What? Hey, you know what? From best or worst?
one of each.
Let's go with best.
Okay, we'll go with best.
Yeah, because worst is a much bigger list.
Yeah, it's a list.
Shockmaster's just Darth Vader.
Oh my God.
Stormtrooper.
Stormtrooper.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Is it Stormtrooper? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, it shows what I know. All right.
But thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning in. We'll see you next week.